with introductions, and Ken gave his background as our creative director here at M. Shanken, and specifically M. Shanken Creative Group. Ken has a very deep and disciplined background in the advertising agency business community, big agency world, and also in the film world. I have been with Marvin for 25 years.
Oh. Wow, that's great.
I know. People ask me what I did before. I said I was a lifeguard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's like Don. Don was a lifeguard in high school and college.
KJ, I was a lifeguard.
Yeah.
So, and I'm also from the West Coast, and went to UC Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And came chasing whatever out here, because right after college, all my artist friends came out, and so I was just a little bored of from the Bay Area, right at the foothills of Monte Diablo.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
in Danville or
Clayton.
Clayton?
Do you know where Clayton is?
I know where it is. I haven't been there, but
Basically, yeah, it's kind of like, it's a little teeny area, we're right on the foothills. I mean,
Yeah.
we cut school and just be on the property.
Yeah,
I grew up
exactly.
in a very small suburban neighborhood of San Mateo from about age 3 to 10. I was born in Oakland, but I grew up in San Mateo, and then we moved to Hillsborough when I was 10. But we had a view from our backyard on Sunset Terrace Avenue, and had a view of Mount Diablo. So I could have waved at you.
Right. Remember, like once a year,
Yeah.
a gust of snow.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
Ooh, it's
beautiful.
snowing.
It was
Yeah.
actually a beautiful view.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Yeah, it's
mountain to
lovely.
be looking at. Yeah.
So yeah, I've been with Marvin for a long time, and so now we have, we help out in the organization, and obviously all our products and our, what we do. In our group, we're considered a think tank and a creative group for, a few very select clients. We're really, really excited. I mean, we obviously, or I don't know, we've taken a very deep dive into your organization, and so we're just really excited to tell stories.
Well, we're so proud that Barbara's on the cover of the Wine Spectator. It's
exciting.
really exciting for us too, our whole family.
Yeah, I'm sure
Everyone.
that'll be a great.
It's a good article.
It's a great
it was
article. I loved
excellent.
it. Yeah.
Got all your wines in the back.
I know. It's really exciting.
Yeah, oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Well, that's what we do here. It's like
Yeah.
it's running game.
And some of the
it's like-
backstory, from the
Yeah.
very beginning, from the inception,
Yeah.
which I think it's important to know, not just to know the history of it, but that's part of our legacy is how we started, where we started, and where we came from. Just like knowing your backgrounds, where you grew up. There's some common threads, common experiences, and then some very different experiences that we can relate to. With people.
So we're gonna let you guys talk, and I'm gonna shush. It's hard for me to do, but I just wanted to say one other. Well, one other thing, I don't know how much they're briefed. I mean, they're briefed on.
They're all briefed. They've read the doc.
On the
Sent us
campaign.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Campaign.
Okay.
But
So
feel free to give a quick overview.
no. At the end of the day, our goal, I think, and I know that we're aligned, is to take the Jackson family wines company, and if anything that we can do is just, at the end of the day, we know through our domain knowledge and our creative expertise to just add a premiumization. So the company, we make sure that from now until whenever, that the premium stays premium. And I think that we could help with that, on whatever that means.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you. That's so exciting. Yeah.
And one thing there's one thing that Jess believed in strongly was creating wineries that stood on their own, and it was more like a confederacy than a federal kind of system. And I think for us that would be important too, if that can be woven into the story, that you have your LaCoyas of the world, they have their own winemaker, you have Harper Family Winery, it has its own winemaker. You have La Crema, their own winemaker. Not only that, they have their own vineyards. And so there are these little satellite wineries that are trying to respect the terroirs that they're set up in, and that are really run quite differently one from the other. And I think it's a hard story to tell. I think sometimes is, well, we're a a community of wineries. We're owned by Jenny, Laura, Barbara, Kitty, Julie, and Chris, but one ownership, but all these multiple wineries set up in terroirs from Australia to Chile to Italy to Bordeaux, so California, Oregon.
Well, what are the tools that you use to ensure the independence? And what are the practices?
Well, some of the things I was talking about is making sure that there's general managers and there are winemakers of each one of these little wineries, and they really have a lot of autonomy in how they put things together. I mean, I taste every wine from across the companies before they go into bottle, but it really isn't usually to tell anybody how to make wine. It's to just keep my finger on the pulse and know what directions they're going in. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of delegation and trust involved. And so it is, and I think that historically what we've done is almost let people discover the name Jackson family after they've discovered Lokoya or after they've discovered Cardinal. So we haven't spent a lot of time building a robust story of how they all link together. So in part, a lot of, and we've had some people who have given us this advice as well. This is what Jess felt, was that big sometimes is looked at as bad, little is looked like as luxury and attractive to a consumer, and like almost. I think we did a couple of focus group studies, and basically what they were saying was somewhat that same thing, is that people like to learn, they like to learn that, eventually maybe that who the family is that, makes Lokoya, and they find out it's Kendall Jackson, their attitude may go up, their impression may go up of it. So that's been kind of the way we've been approaching it. But in a way, it has been probably not as cohesive of a story, and that's I think what
Well, we're
Caroline's
looking
trying to work
to you
on
all
here. Yeah,
with Caroline.
and I guess I only bring this up to emphasize that if we can find a way to walk that path and let people know, have the story ready, and tell the story about the ownership and all the brands in a way that we don't make it look like it's a big group of wineries, but a lot of independently run little wineries. And like I say, it's not that easy of a path to walk, but that's something that I think has always been important to us. I'll stop talking.
Well, I have a question about that, because you talked about the individuality and letting these but then you have this idea of sustainability and obviously being leaders in that, and so how do you kind of make the thread connect? And there are things that they do like.
Yeah, no, and I think that's a really important point, because there are some things that you really want to talk about the family doing, like the sustainability program that applies to all the wineries, and you really can't say Kendall Jackson, at the forefront of sustainability. It really makes more sense because it's true. It's the overarching family owners of all these wineries that are really putting that policy into place.
The Jackson family.
The Jackson family
Is-
as to all of
is-
these.
Premium wine company.
So that's
is promoting sustainability and stands behind it,
Right, and
as
so-
a family.
And so that's like the New York Times story, for example. It really had to focus on Jackson family wines and their efforts in sustainability, because that is the group that you would want to do that story for. Couldn't really work for anyone else. So that's, I think, a perfect example, sustainability, where you would want to be telling the story of Jackson family wines, maybe versus Kendall Jackson or La Crema or Hartford or Lokoya or Cardinal, or they have one of the other 50 wineries.
But I think, to me, the answer is basically, and I think this is what parents are saying. So the family is the thread that weaves it together, and it's sort of there are certain values that we have as a family and as a company that that we've built into our company values that mean that we're always trying to run things ethically, whether that's through our sustainability program or our community outreach and our company policies for employees and things of that nature, as well as in terms of I just lost the thought. But basically, it's a sort of, I guess, one of those values too is we really believe in having those independent wineries because we want to experience wines in many different ways. So although they're run as their own unique organizations, their own unique wines representing those unique terroirs, there's some core values that we share as a family and that we try to make sure are implemented, in terms of guiding.
I started to say that we're trying to help our individual wineries with some family involvement, not as direct leaders or taking over the direction of the winery so much as ambassadors for each of our wineries, for each of our brands. And so some direction might be taken. The family might take a lead on something, but their involvement, say for example, Max is involved with Matanzas Creek, or obviously Chris is involved with Stone Street, or Julia is involved with Cambria, but we all take an interest in Kendall Jackson, we all take an interest in La Crema,